Da 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 da. Welcome, fellow riders, to Riders of Reels. We are going to be taking you through the wonderful movie Terminator 2 Judgment Day, going over the biggest shocks, biggest facts, biggest disappointments, if there were any. And we're going to jump right into it right now.
So we will get right into it, and I've seen this one quite a few times. What were your initial thoughts? Because I'm sure you've also seen it quite a few times. It's been a while for me, but
I
anything
have.
stand out or
Um, the biggest standout to me still is, and we'll dive more into it further in the conversation, is that storm drain chase sequence. I think it's the best chase sequence in like all of cinema, and it's all done practically again too, showing just
yes.
again that just like the beauty of what you can do with practical effects over relying on CGI. What was your favorite? Just even still to this day.
So it had been a while, but this is just like one of the best action movies of all time. Like it's up there, and if you haven't seen this movie, you are missing out. I what I like the most is I didn't watch the first Terminator in preparation for this. I just obviously just watched the second one. I like how you don't necessarily need to watch the first one to understand what's going on in the second one.
Yeah, they're pretty clear about like just like explaining just briefly kind of what happened with Sarah Connor, and obviously her reactions in the hospital.
Yeah, it's a
um,
good standalone movie.
it is, yeah, and I think it's like, and just like you said, if you have never seen this, this is to the viewers. If you've never seen this, you are missing out on one of the best action movies of all time. So you need to pause it right now, watch it, and then come back to this. But it is literally like the best sequel, also, I feel like, in terms of not relying on just the bigger is better notion, because they still do that compared to the first movie. But like simple and personal can be more um, complex still at the end of the day and more grounded. Because like it's to the just over the overarching themes. The villain is simple, wants to kill John Connor. The hero is simple, protect John Connor. The concept is fun. John Connor from the future sends a T-800 to protect himself. It's relatable because we see a robot understand the human condition throughout, and the film is personal because we see a child building a relationship with his mother and a protector. So it's just like it's nothing that's like too complex, but it's just done so concise and so beautifully with fun action set pieces, yada yada yada. So I'd
Oh
like
yeah.
to, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And even though it is very simple, like you said, it's also complex. Like a lot of people just see this as, the Terminator, like robots, fighting each other action, but there's a lot of that goes into it, like thematically and these relationships within the movie between Sarah and John, mother-son relationship between John and Arnold's character, the Terminator, kind of like a son-father relationship that develops, and then just the overall effect of just humanity and kind of kind of what we're seeing now with
Mhm.
AI and technology advancing so fast that we may not be too far off of
Yeah.
letting technology consume us and something like this potentially happening in the future.
So true. My man James Conner, not James Conner. Oh my gosh,
James Conner,
James Cameron,
shout out
James
running back for
Cameron,
the
and John.
Cardinals.
James Cameron predicted the future 35 years ago, just like Orson Welles or George Orwell. I can't remember which.
Yeah.
1984 predicted the Big Brother stuff. I mean, this stuff is real. Skynet is basically Google Chrome.
I mean, pretty much. But we were talking about you were talking about the practical effects. So
Yes,
I'd assume out of this entire movie, then that big chase scene is your favorite practical effects of this movie.
I would say so. What was yours? And then I want to dive into each of ours.
Yeah. So obviously James Cameron is like the master of practical effects. I mean, we've seen it in all of his movies from this to the Alien to
Hmm.
I know Avatar's a lot of CGI, but I'm sure he uses a lot of practical stuff there.
Yeah, I
For
could see that.
me, it's a weird one. Maybe not a lot of people would pick this, but when uh they're with the Foster family in the home and the
Mm.
T-1000, we don't know that he's the foster mom, and he gets that knife hand and kills the
Yes.
dad. It's just there's just so many things like that within the movie that they use the T-1000 like morphing and whatnot. I know there's a bit of CGI in there, but they also use
Hmm.
practical effects involving it, and that's why it looks like really good and holds up to this day.
Absolutely. And that scene that you're talking about is so. Oh, it's like you get almost that horror aspect blends into it, along with the thriller action because he's so fantastic at choosing his blocking moments between the intercuts of John and the foster parents. Because you can already feel the tension of like, oh yes, between their conversation, something isn't right. But the fact that you only are revealed her on the phone that close up until then the camera extends
Yeah.
and reaches out, and you're like, oh, this is just gonna be terrifying. Like, you know it's messed up,
Yeah,
but
it's
that's
the
gonna.
first time you figure out that, oh crap, he's a shapeshifter and he can
Yes.
turn into other people. That horror
Hmm.
aspect, you're like, okay, this is even more of a dangerous Terminator
Yes.
than Arnold's character is.
And one of the fun facts on top of that, just like how we talked about recently in the Nolan podcast, obviously the giant sequence he used practical in terms 7 feet tall stunt doubles and 5 feet tall stunt doubles. For this, kind of around the same realm, he used twins in terms of the sequences. So whenever you're seeing the T-1000 shapeshift into someone else, he had a twin play as that person. So they were
Oh,
able to have both on camera. So again, it's just like another cool element, but simplistic still.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
feels real with it.
Okay, I didn't even know that. I knew Sarah Connor also had a twin that they used in that
Yes.
last scene, but I didn't know the T-1000 had a twin as well. That's
Well,
pretty
oh,
cool.
so the T-1000, I don't think he had a twin, but like, when he is the guard in the
Yeah.
hospital, so the guard had a twin. So whenever he
Oh,
shapeshifts as someone
oh,
else, they always
oh,
have a
okay.
twin play in. So
Yeah.
sorry, that's what I meant to
Oh,
say.
okay, okay. That's interesting still.
Yeah.
But yeah, the practical effects in this and just like the action sequences in general, just insane throughout. Like it just kept surprising me over and over and
Hmm.
it just doesn't stop. Like it's so action packed.
Yes. And I feel like at this time in the 90s when this was made, I feel like rules were just like if you were a good director and you had a vision, you could kind of do whatever you wanted. Maybe you'd still have to go up against the executives still in a way,
Yeah.
but you could go on like certain streets and block them off entirely. I mean, the storm drain. How many times is anyone able to bring a truck like that down a storm drain, like breaking down into it,
Yeah.
and then actually getting cut in half? I read up an article where the height of the truck was actually too tall for the underpass. And they like some of the people went up to James Cameron like, "What are we supposed to do? Like, we can't take the truck through this." And he's like, "Well, the truck top is coming off the roof of the so they literally like were just improvised and said, "Yeah, we're gonna take off half of that truck by just like having it get rammed and sliced up
Yeah.
within the and none of that is fake stuff. Like, it is all just done, and you can see the fun destruction that really plays into the heightened moment of that sequence.
No, yeah, and like I said, that's just the glory of practical effects that it holds up to this day. Like there are quite a few 80s movies I'll watch and think, okay, that's still a little cheesy or it's like cheesy looking
Hmm.
now, a little fake, but this movie, besides maybe like the beginning sequence, a lot of people probably like that sequence with like showing the war and the Terminators, like the future. I found it a little cheesy, but the rest of the movie, just like I said, the effects are just insane.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's like a sweet cheesiness to that beginning part. I think it's almost just because of like it sets up the past backstory, past and present or and future
Yeah.
storyline of like where things have gotten now. But I had a fun fact with that one too. That whole 3 minute sequence cost more than the first budget of the Terminator, the original. Just that 3 minute sequence.
That's crazy.
Yeah. um, but on top of that, I was just curious, what were your takes with the main cast? Because that's something that I know has been talked about for years. I wanted to know what you thought about Sarah Connor, um, Arnold, the T-1000, John
Yeah.
Connor. Like, what was your first takes between all the characters?
Honestly, it's almost just like perfect casting. Like I could not see any of these characters as someone else, and um I don't know the actor's name of who plays John, but as a kid actor, I was thinking during the movie there's some parts he's a little annoying, but
Hmm.
overall he does a pretty good job for a kid. And I don't know like the audience, what people view that as, like if he's good or bad, but usually the kid actors struggle, and he seemed really good. He had some good emotional scenes that I could really buy with his mom and with the Terminator Arnold's character. So yeah, and then on top of that, Arnold isn't known as like, the best actor in the world, but I think he does a really good job in this movie just,
Hmm.
being just like robotic and very simple, and it just does wonders.
Absolutely. I totally agree with it. He's the original John Wick, the original Keanu Reeves. In terms of like just that, like you need a few words of dialogue. Keanu's, yeah, I'm back. Like, and
Yeah.
Arnold has the same thing. You can't help but be like, yeah, like show me it all. Like, I'm ready to see what you got for us.
Yeah.
Um, so he had that same stuff. It just goes to show that you don't need like crazy dialogue always to make a fantastic film, but just like fantastic visuals and really welcoming, encouraging characters. And I just love seeing a cast that was like so dedicated to their craft. Because I know Linda Hamilton was like super into everything in terms of the actual action sequences and doing some of them. I'm sure there was a stunt double involved, but I know she lost her hearing in one ear during that elevator sequence. She, when there was the guns being shot off there, she forgot to
Yeah.
put her protective
Oh.
earpiece in. Um, and obviously a sad thing that happened, but just showing how much they were like, I guarantee they had fun throughout this whole movie
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, too.
John Connor, it was cool because they cast him. Um, his life basically mirrored John Connor's. I can't remember the actor's name, but he in real life didn't know his father and was estranged from his mother. So
Oh
they were
wow.
almost like this actually like plays into the exact character we want, like in terms of Terminator is now kind of his father figure, and so Arnold really took on the role of like helping the kid throughout the filming, not just with the actual set pieces, but like advice in life, which is cool
Yeah.
to
No,
see and
yeah,
hear.
that is cool. And to dive maybe a little deeper into the relationship between Sarah and John, because I mean, knowing that fact now, I could even, the emotional beats of some of these scenes, like maybe he really was feeling something like deeper,
Yeah.
because of his personal experiences. But I just really love that relationship, like it develops with it, down the line of the movie, Sarah and John.
Hmm.
Uh, I can kind of relate, I have parents that they try their best, and as kids and growing up, you kind of don't understand, like, necessarily what they're going through. And I don't know, like John in this movie, he says multiple times he hates his mother, and, all these things that she put him through, he didn't understand. And when the Terminators finally show up and it's all real, his world is flipped upside down. He's spent all
Hmm.
this time hating his mom, and just to find out that she wasn't crazy. And the scene when he realizes that he's talking to the Terminator, you could just see him going through all these things in his head, like in the moment. Like I said, his world being flipped upside down, and he feels so bad because he also didn't believe his mom. And I just really loved that scene and felt for him.
Yeah. No, that's some wise words within that too. Um, I think it is a very beautiful moment in showing that change of his world being flipped upside down and how we, when we're younger, we're so naive usually to our parents. And I think we do forget that like a lot of the stuff that whether they've sacrificed or had to give it up is because it was for the best of us. And it might not be for every scenario, parent
Yeah.
child, but I think it is a very Um, well earned beat between that.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, I wanted to quickly just dive into a little bit of the CGI because this was also a time where CGI was just kind of like really breaking through. Like there's a lot that was done, but it's still more films were relied on practical.
Yeah.
And I did a little research too on this. I heard that it was about 5 minutes of the film was used for CGI by this company called Industrial Light and Magic, ILM. They first off went from 6 workers to 36 workers by the start and end of the shoot
Yeah.
to get like because they had to get this all done in a year. And they were like, okay, we can't do this without enough workers. I learned though that like first off it was groundbreaking technology that they ended up doing with the liquid metal because that was like the first time that such a heavy set of things were put into it. But the part of I enjoy with James Cameron is he combined still practical with the CGI in both elements. Like you know when he's getting shot, the T-1000, and he's
Yeah.
got those like metal plates like holding up there. They had that with a button to when he got shot, they'd press it and it would release one of those metal fragments on his chest. So it was an actual practical effect done with
Yeah.
that, but then they'd CGI it to like go back into his body, the liquid
Yeah.
metal. And
Yeah.
I was just thinking it's such a heightened, beautiful like way of showing combining the two. Because I feel like most people can agree with practical wins all the way. If you got to
Yeah.
do CGI, try doing a combining everything to that.
No, yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, the liquid metal is like the standout with the CGI. I mean, there's probably
mhm.
times I can't even tell like that it is CGI or if it's like a practical effect. It just looks so cool. There's so many scenes with this with him, like whether it's coming out of the checkered floor or like you said, his body
Mhm.
coming back together, all deformed in all different ways, from his head being split, from the holes in his chest. It's just so cool looking.
It is. Yeah, I can't begin just to emphasize how fantastic this movie is. And as when I first watched as a kid, who doesn't want to be John Connor? Who doesn't want to put their shoes in that? At least I wanted to. I
Yeah,
still like if I was a kid, give me that bike. I'll run away from any T-1000 as long as I got
yeah.
T-800. um, yeah, this movie just never ceases to amaze, though. Um, is there anything other topic that you were really touched by
So also we
or
talked about
sequence?
Sarah and John's relationship. Then there's John and the Terminator's relationship, which is really interesting because this is a robot with no emotions sent back just to protect John, and John starts to develop that like father-son relationship with the T-800 with Arnold's character. And even though by the end I kind of do feel like Arnold's character, I could sense like some care, which is a good thing. It was like back and forth because he's still the robot, still Terminator, but I could tell like maybe this robot cares, cares about John, and I
Mhm.
just I just love how it just develops through the whole movie, and John's showing him different human things and explaining like different human traits and emotions to him, and he's taking it all in, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the secret recipe for like how they did it so well is they took their time and they did it like immediately from the start when their first two characters meet. Um, and nothing is rushed, and then at the end it feels rewarded when John has that moment of emotion pouring out for like knowing he's going to lose the T-800 Terminator, and it's fun to see their quippiness build in. You have such that perfect dynamic of a 10-year-old kid who is more involved with the different fads of the world, so he's quippy, he's got fun dialogue lines, and he's teaching Arnold throughout the whole time, like, hey, this is how you make fun of someone. This is how you be lighthearted in a moment like that. This is how you let steam off your chest. And it's all these different things that just keep planting themselves and then paying off again at each different moment. And it works so well to feeling the aspect that Arnold's becoming more of a person, even though he still doesn't. But we can see that shift from him being a protector to almost that father figure for John. And it just they did a fantastic job. I mean, how many times did when they were filming too, did they think "I'll be back" or "Hasta la vista, baby" was going to be like such emphasized lines of dialogue that people would
Yeah.
use in like schools, I'm sure, at work, all these different moments.
No, yeah. I mean, on top, like going to the iconic one-liners, out of all of them, there's like quite a few in this movie. What's your favorite one-liner?
I love a good hasta la vista, baby. That's that's probably fine. What about
Uh, I mean, I have to just go with the I'll be back. It's just,
yeah.
I feel like I say that probably once a week, if not like once every few weeks, just, it's just without even realizing it. And that's the impact of like a movie like this or the characters when you
Mhm.
use it in everyday life.
Yeah. No, so true. But I love that. Like it's those are the moments that are like what movies are made for, is to bring people from all different walks of the world to feel that same relatable energy and then be able to talk about it with each other. Like I
Yeah.
wonder how it was getting out of the theaters back then with this, and like everyone down the street is just saying this stuff to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I hadn't caught on yet
Yeah,
quite
maybe
yet,
it's
but
still,
yeah.
but it's cool
Yeah,
to
there's
think
just
about.
so many. Come with me if you want to live.
Live,
It's
yeah,
just like
I
no
know, and
problemo.
I love the payoffs from the first movie because I think there's a moment where Sarah Connor has that in the first movie with someone else.
Yeah,
Come with me, and
yeah,
then they bring it back with now him. Like there's just so many great elements that he brings in. And let alone that hospital sequence. That one just gets me like the action one, of course, but just in general,
yeah,
any hospital sequence with Sarah Connor. She is such a fantastic actress, and I love seeing in the '90s such a strong female protagonist that isn't I need help. Like she's doing it herself, everything.
yeah,
And she's so clever with which aspects she has to fake, which aspects she has to be stronger in, take lead. Yeah.
yeah. One thing in that hospital, one thing that just like really irks me or bothers me. I don't know why it's the purpose of the scene, but when the the
I
guard
think I know
just
which one you're talking about.
yeah, the guard just goes
Oh,
up to her and like is
oh God. Oh God.
just licks her face, and I just like I don't know what the point of that was. It's
Yeah.
just like okay,
I know. That's didn't go well with me either. It just brings to me that Kill Bill vibe, when
yeah.
she's not, and I'm just like, oh, don't tell me this is something that's actually like,
But maybe it just shows like nothing phases her at this point, and just
yeah,
whatever she has her mission, and that hospital scene is just insane. It's just and the T-1000, it's almost like this slasher vibe where you just keep getting fouled and chased like Michael Myers, and
exactly.
the dude just keeps coming back no matter what they shoot him with or whatever.
Hmm.
He just keeps forming back, and you never think like okay, maybe, they're not going to defeat this thing. And that even goes to the ending scene where they use the liquid nitrogen and
Yes.
uh and he says hasta la vista and shoots him and then you think it's done and he still somehow just like forms back. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought the movie is done and they go on maybe another like 10 minutes, even more action. It's like, holy moly.
No, and it's such just good moments of like distracting the audience with something else, because it plays into like just what we've been going throughout this whole movie. Every time that there's an action sequence between them, and you think the T-1000 is about to die, you're like, okay, sigh of relief, and then it just keeps on happening. And at that moment, I feel like when they were making this, they were like, we're really going to catch the audience off guard here because it feels the most real point of him being done entirely. Especially when he
Yeah.
says "Hasta la vista, baby." You're like, oh my god, like you want to just clap. But they emphasized the tension within the audience when they had him get melted again. I think it was such a
Yeah.
clever way of making that movie much more enjoyable and building up like this thing will never die. It will come back.
Yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, just that whole ending sequence, and then they're in like that spark factory.
Hmm.
Cameron, I think, has been in a couple factories in his movies before. It's just like a
Hmm.
popular pick, but the lighting in those scenes is just like immaculate. It just looks so cool with all the fire and everything
Yes.
going on. Just like it was just like a perfect place to film that.
Hmm. Well, and I want to give round of applause to T-1000 because he was that actor is fantastic with playing that role. It was supposed to go to two other people. I think one got in like a car accident or something happened where they weren't able to be on set, and same with the other person that was assigned. Forgot their names, but The main actor, he was so fantastic. I think his name was Robert Patrick. I had it written down.
Yeah.
Um, but I learned that he trained to be as robotic as possible during this. So he learned how to breathe only through his nose when he was doing any sequence. He didn't blink when he would shoot a gun to like have any reaction or flinch. And he actually learned how to like keep up running with the dirt bike. Like so in those sequences, it's not like they had the
That's
dirt
really
bike
him
go at full
running.
speed. And so
Yeah.
they were going it the whole entire time, and he's just like darting, and the cameramen are like, "What the like just this guy's actually keeping up with this thing like
Yeah.
each moment," and I feel it. Like I'm on the clutches of my seat, like, "Oh my God, please stop!"
Yeah, there's like no way this thing's catching up to him, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, he does a great job, and like you said, he probably, I don't know the amount of words he says in this movie. It's not very many, but he still is able to portray this character just through his lack of emotion, actually, just like facial
Hmm.
expressions and everything you just said, and just does a great job.
Yeah.
Any negatives at all in this one that you could think of or
Um,
have? Any gripes?
I kind of want to say no because watching through it again, there really is just something about this that even if it's something small, the pace of this movie is so quick and constant, and there's not a moment that like my entertainment is dulled. Even when they're having a passive moment, introducing new characters, like when they're in the desert and they're getting more like gear and stuff. Like there's just something about the constant flow of the film that I didn't think anything dragged, slowed me down, or didn't make sense to it. So I'm gonna say no on my end. I would love to hear if you have anything.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you bring up that desert part. I think for me, that's maybe like the second third of the movie. It drags like a bit for me. They do the desert and then they go look for the scientists, and there's just a period, I don't know how long it lasts, but it just seems like it dragged out a little too much for me, and then we don't even see the T-1000 for a little while. Like he's just like non-existent for a good chunk there, and it's just like, okay, he's chasing him and finding him the whole rest of the movie. What changed now? And it was just the best when like the T-1000's on screen and chasing him. But again, it's not
Yes.
like the biggest gripe, and there were payoffs of these slower scenes, like you said, in the desert. It gives everyone a chance to relax and think about things and develop the relationship between John with the Terminator and with his mother. So not a big deal, but I just felt it a little sitting there like, okay, where's the T-1000? Let's get back to the action.
Hmm. No, I see what you mean there. Um, there's if I really took it down, I'm sure I could find something that would have
Yeah,
bothered me too within it.
yeah, no worries. Yeah,
But no, I agree. In terms of, I wanted to bring this one up too because I don't know if you noticed it. Do you know when they're showing the playground with the kids and how we're shown three different sequences where the kids are on the playground and everything's fine. The kids are on the playground, or well, they're not there because it's all in ash and it's all destroyed. And then there's the time where everything is on fire from that heat wave. Um, I learned that symbolizes, at least what I think is symbolizes heaven, the first one, hell as the second, and then purgatory as the third. Or you can vice versa switch hell and purgatory because when they show the horses, there's four horses, like the child like swing horses.
yeah.
Those I was thinking resemble the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So I think it was his own little fun way of playing into almost like biblical aspects within a movie like that without being so
Okay.
like heavily focused on it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would be curious to ask him that. I mean, there's always like things you can find like in a religious aspect in a film if you look hard enough, and that's interesting that you found that. And it's just cool, like just movies in general, how you can interpret these things the way you want, and
Mm-hmm.
never thought of it that way. Next time I rewatch, I'll have that in mind.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. I love those sequences though. It breaks my heart that third one.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
scary stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you had in mind that you wanted to talk about?
Just shout out the soundtrack.
Mm,
Music is just great in this movie. The Terminator theme song, iconic.
yeah.
Uh,
No, so true. Um, also, yeah. I mean, everyone who was a part of this I feel like needs a shout out of this movie. I heard that Cameron was a little bit intense with it because he was given only a year deadline from
Yeah.
writing, directing, and editing it, which is a tough feat to ask too. Um, and it was also at the time the highest or most expensive movie ever made. It was 100 million
Wow.
to make that,
Yeah. Did
but
not
it
know that.
it paid off with five times more, 520 million. It made. I think
Wow.
this goes to
Yeah.
show you can make anything great if you put love into it.
Yeah. Hopefully he drops the Avatar stuff. Sorry if
Oh
you're a
my
fan of the
god.
Avatar out there, but maybe bring back Cameron on the Terminators, make
Yeah, that's
Terminator great again.
like maybe they could do a crossover Terminator Titanic. Bring
Just
it. Paint
make
me like
another
Skynet.
make another quick 2 billion for James
I
Cameron.
know.
No, it's
Anything that guy
crazy.
puts out makes that much money. It's insane.
But do you have anything else?
That was all I had. But again, I think if you have not watched this film, this is something that you need to put on your movie list because it is one of those movies that will change your aspect of what you see today. Because a lot of movies aren't made the same way that this was.
100% classic movie.
All right, so what would you rate it? At 1 out of 10.
Okay, 1 out of 10. I'm going, number pops in my head is a 9.3. Like, really, really solid movie for me.
It's so funny that you said that because I was thinking 9.4. Like 1.1 out.
There
Yeah,
you go.
it's hard to beat this.
Yeah, not a perfect movie, but it's just up there, especially for the genre it is. That is a very high good score for this, and like we said, definitely go and watch it if you haven't seen it. But that'll about do it for today. If you guys enjoyed today's breakdown of Terminator 2, please do us a favor and like the video. It helps us a lot. Also, subscribe as there will be plenty more just like this of iconic movies we all know and love. Thanks for watching and being a part of the ride. Until next time, I'm Adam,
I'm Emilio.
and we'll
We'll
be
be
back.
back.